Do you have tight hips and a hunched back? Then this video is for you. I'm going to share with you some stretches you can do and some strengthening tips. Number one is to get flexibility back into that middle back. For this, you'll need a foam roller. So take your foam roller and put it in between your shoulder blades, perpendicular to your body. Tuck your chin in, support your head, and arch back. Now you might be too stiff to do much movements, but as you breathe in, that'll create space between your bones, and exhale, maybe you can go a little further. Breathe in, really stretch your spine, and breathe out and arch over. It's really important to do this nice and slow. If you're feeling pain, you're straining too much. I always say if you're feeling it, you're healing it because you want to feel a stretch, but if you're straining, you're literally straining it and harming it. So use the breath to create space and follow the breath out. I would do this 3 to 5 times nice and slow. To get back up, you just want to go onto your side and then help yourself back up. To open up your hips, put one foot in front of you, one foot behind you. Square up your hips, bend the front knee, tuck your tail in, and you should feel a stretch in your hip flexor. If you're not feeling it there, you're not stretching it there. You might be feeling it in your thigh or in your buttock, which means you need to reposition yourself. Maybe you need to bring your back leg further back or your front leg further forward. Maybe you need to bring your hips more square or more in a twist. Watch out for the health of your knees. You don't want to be twisting your legs so that you're hurting your knees. You don't want to hurt your knees while you're trying to open up your hips. Maybe you need to bend your knee a little bit more. Find that position to where you're feeling the stretch in the hip flexor. Oftentimes hip flexors are tight because they're compensating for weaker abs. So strengthening the lower abs will help take the pressure off your hip flexors. If you're curious on how to do this safely, I have a video on how to strengthen your lower abs. I'll put a link in the description below. A lot of times we get flex in the middle back is because we're super tight in the front and super weak in the back. So to stretch the front, you can do a simple pec stretch by placing your hands up and back. You can do a Y stretch or bring your hands down low to stretch a different portion of your pec muscles. You can use a door frame to push through to stretch those pec muscles. To strengthen your back muscles, I advise getting exercise bands. They come in varying resistance. Find one that's fairly easy for you to use. Put your hands palm up out in front of you, and then simply bring your hands to the side and squeeze your shoulder blades back and down. Make sure not to use your trap muscles. If you're feeling it up high, you're strengthening those muscles. You literally want to feel it between your shoulder blades. So make sure that when you're bringing your hands back and down, you're feeling it between the shoulder blades as you squeeze. Notice I'm not doing a lot of arm movement. I'm keeping it in the shoulder blades. And you can do this 10 times and repeat 3 times. Another thing you can do to increase the mobility of your middle back area is doing some simple spinal twists, reaching back behind you, doing some lateral bends to increase the flexibility and lateral flexion. Bring your arms up overhead because the more flexible your shoulders are, the better it is for your mid-back. So you can also self-massage your hip flexors. It's best to do it in either seated position or laying on your back with your knees bent to soften the area. And you place your thumb in the groin area and just kind of search around for a tender area. You might need to angle up to get behind the ilium to get to that iliopsoas part of the hip flexor. But if you find a tender area, just press it, hold for a few breaths, and then release. And you can repeat this 3 times. Each time you press, it should feel a little less tender as you're milking out the metabolic waste. Another way to stretch that groin area is placing your heel on your knee and pressing down on the knee. Now again, make sure that your knee feels okay doing this because you don't want to harm your knee trying to fix your hip. So these are a few things you could do to soften the hips and to limber up that middle spine so that it's easier to hold a healthier posture. There are a lot more things you can do. It's always best to talk to your healthcare provider, preferably a chiropractor, to see what's best for your specific needs. If you have any questions, you know we love to hear from you. Please post them below. And until next time, stay well.
The drum and difference.